now we revised about the introduction of flows in the part 1. So this is going to be the part 2 where we will be discussing about the important points to remember about flows. Okay, so the first thing is, so whenever you want to catch an error in a flow, what we have fault connectors. Fault connectors can be used whenever there is an error that came in the flow and you want to fetch that particular error. How you're going to fetch that? With the help of flow dot fault message. Okay, whether it's an exception, limit, or whatever, you'll be getting it with the help of this. Similarly, what is a flow interview? Flow interview, not the regular interview that we discuss. Okay, flow interview is an instance of flow. So consider it like the way we have objects and then one record, another record we create, right? One entire, all the things, all the configurations that we do in object, we put the data in the record 1, record 2. Similarly, flow is when we are configuring, right? But what would be the value of that flow for a particular instance when it ran first, then when it ran second time? So these are any instance of the flow where it will have all its values, what ran, how. This is what we call as flow interview. Okay, so next we are going to discuss, can we call flow from LWC or LWC from flow? The answers to both is yes. Okay, if I want to call flow from LWC, okay, which means in the LWC you need to mention flow API name. Okay, then if I want to call the LWC from my flow, okay, in the flow I have to call the LWC. Okay, how we are going to do it? That to showcase LWC in the flows, I need to mark the target as lightning flow screen in the XML file of the LWC component as true. Okay, then comes, can I call flow, can flow call apex? Okay, the answer to both is true. Can flow call apex? Can apex call flow? Both are true. We will see how. Can flow call apex, which means there is a flow and you want to call apex from there. Okay, anytime you want to call apex from flow, then in that particular apex, to let that apex know that I am going to call you. Okay, flow will tell that I am going to call you. So to recognize which apex to make call for, I will be annotating my that particular apex method with invocable method. Okay, similarly goes, so how it happens, there is a list that comes as an input and a list that goes as output. We use wrapper classes over here to get the lists. Okay, to get the entire data, and in the wrapper classes we can also have invocable variables that will help us to pass the data. Okay, it should be a static variable, the method it should be a static method and a public method. Only one single method in can have the invocable annotation for the entire class. Can apex call flow? So we have just now discussed flow to apex. Now from apex to flow, yes, we can do with the help of flow dot interview class. Okay, we can create we can create the entire record dot start with start the. This is basically used whenever you want to keep a track, you want to make sure how your flow is running, and you want to see the things programmatically. Okay, then comes how to check failed flows. We will be able to check it in the setup, check paused and failed flows. In what context will the flow run? Normally, so when we talk about the screen flow, you see a screen, okay, you inputted something. This will happen in the user context. Okay, when we talk about the record triggered flows or the scheduled triggered flows, they run in the system context, which means ignoring the org wide or org level, object level, as well as the field level security settings. Then there is a variable record prior. What does that means? So in flow, if you have seen, whenever we create a flow, the values that were present originally before making the changes, that are usually stored in the record prior. What is a flow trigger explorer? So every object will have this option, flow trigger, and there will be a button inside the object manager for each of the objects where you will find all the all the flows related to that objects, for insertion, deletion, what is happening when. Okay, so there are two options in a flow, run and debug. What is the difference between both of them? Run means you are actually trying to run in a real time scenario, the way you the way you make changes in real time scenario. But debug will mostly be used to test out a particular flow, and we can also test it with the rollback mode, okay, which is more helpful in testing part. Then what is a subflow? Within a flow, what I want to write a clean code. So, oh sorry, a clean flow. So I want to keep all my flows not too much lengthy. I want to make I would like to follow the modular approach in which I can create multiple subflows and I can call those subflows within a flow. Okay, with their reference. What is the order of execution for the flow? So first the record triggered flow of the before runs, then the before save, then after save, and then after record triggered flows. All right. So whenever a flow fails, I want to get an email. How I'm going to do that? I'm going to do that with the help of process automation settings. In the setup, you will find this option. Can I make callouts with the help of flow? Yes, I can make callouts to the external system. Can I run my flow in the async? Async is like we have discussed previously also asynchronous, which means the scenario where we do not require immediate responses. Okay, we have two types of things. Normally flows run in synchronous approach. This way we want to run in the asynchronous mode. Yes, we can run in the record triggered flow. We can get an option run asynchronously where after a certain time this particular flow will run. Thank you so much.